In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a granny square, changing with 3 different colours. I'm using a 4.5mm hook. Going to need a tapestry needle, some scissors. The colours that I'm using, this is Esteem DK bronze twist yarn, a Wendy Supreme DK yarn, the Koala colour. We have Yarn Smith's Create DK yarn, country green. And I find it's quite handy to have some stitch markers as well. So we're going to start off with a magic ring, and then we build 4 clusters, and each cluster are some double crochets and then a chain that separates each cluster. So we'll do this first section here. We're going to start off with the magic ring, so just have the loose end of the yarn, cross your hand like that, pinch here with your thumb, get the working yarn up and around and over your finger so it creates a cross. Just hold it there, just pinch this up a little bit, create a gap, get your crochet hook underneath, up and over, and drag the yarn through and then twist it up. Then just get it off of your finger with the working yarn over, and then pull it through the loop you've just made, and then with the loose end just pick it up and drag it out here. So that is your magic ring. So to start the clusters, you want to first just chain 2, and this these 2 chains count as the first double crochet. And if you've never done this before, what I think is a good idea is to just grab a stitch marker and put a marker in the most recent chain you've just made, because you'll need to find that later on. So to make the double crochet, first you want to yarn over and then pinch together the loose yarn and the ring, and with the hook you want to go under both of those and then pull through, so you're going to have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull it through the 2 loops, and then you'll have 2 loops left, yarn over, and then pull through. So that's your first double crochet. So you've got your 2 chains and your double crochet. We'll do that again, yarn over, put your hook under and through the ring and the loose towel, pull through, yarn over again, through the 2 loops, and you'll have 2 loops left, yarn over, pull through. So that's your first cluster. So you've got your chain 2 and then 2 double crochets. Now we just want to chain 1. We'll always chain after a cluster, and now we're going to do the next cluster, which is going to consist of 3 double crochets. So assuming now you kind of know how to do the double crochets into this magic ring, I'm going to speed it up a bit. So yarn over, first double crochet, second double crochet, that's the third, and then finish it off with another chain. So we're going to do that 2 more times. Okay, that's our third cluster. Finishing it off with a chain after doing the 3 double crochets. Now our last cluster. So yep, last cluster done. Finish it off with a chain. And so now you want to get that loose towel, and if you pull it, it's going to close that ring. And then we'll go back to where that stitch marker was and put your hook in. And then with the working yarn, yarn over and pull through both loops and pull up to tighten. And then cut off here. So yeah, that's the first section of our granny square. Just take this stitch marker out, and then this is where we can use the tapestry needle to weave in these bits. I'll show you how I weave in. So you always want to weave in on the wrong side. That's the right side, that's the wrong side. The more you make these, the more you'll start to recognize what the wrong and right side looks like. But you're always working and looking at the wrong side. Just weave it in this front section here. And then when you're happy, you can just cut, leave a little bit. You want to leave a little bit because you might want to see what side is the wrong side easily. It's probably a good idea to weave in after each round. As you go, it just gets it out of the way. And what I like to do is, if I'm making multiple granny squares, I'll sort of make multiple of just the first round, and then I'll go through and I'll make multiples of like the second round. It just makes me feel like I'm progressing a lot faster, but that's up to you. Right, we'll do our second round now with a new colour. So I'm using the Koala colour, and the way I like to do it is you get the end of the yarn up and over the hook, and then round the back, twist it round, yarn over, pull it through, and then you can put your hook in any of the chain one spaces, which if you just yank them out, you should be able to see where they are. You can see there's the space, there's the space. It'll be where that chain is sort of on its own. Just insert your hook, get the working yarn, pull it over, pull it through, and then put it through the other loop. And now we're going to chain 2. The way I like to do this is I'll chain with both bits of yarn. So yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, and then after I've just done 2 chains, I'll pull out the loose bit of yarn and then that works as a stitch marker for when you do a slip stitch at the end to join the round. Let's look at the granny square again. You'll see that there's 2 clusters in one stitch. So we'll be doing a cluster, a chain, and then a cluster all in the same stitch. And that's what starts to create the square shape. So we're going to be doing double crochets, cluster of double crochets, in between a chain, and then another chain, and we'll repeat. So we'll go through that step by step. So we've just done our chains. Get the working yarn, do 2 double crochets, so yarn over, insert in that chain 1 space, put it through, yarn over, pull the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through. We'll do another double crochet, so yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through both loops. And so, because earlier the first chains counts as the first double crochet, and then that's 3 double crochets technically for our first cluster. So then we'll chain 1 and then do 3 more double crochets in that same space. So I've just yarned over in that chain 1 space, pull through, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through those loops. So I'll do 2 more double crochets. And that's our first corner. So after the corner, chain 1, and now we go into the next chain 1 space. So I mean, I can already see it there, but then I know I can just count 1, 2, 3 double crochets to also find it. So I'm gonna yarn over, insert the next chain space, pull through, and I'll do 3 double crochets. So that's 3 double crochets, and then do another chain. And now we're going to do another cluster, so 3 more double crochets in that same space. Then finish it off chaining 1. So yeah, now we've got 2 corners, and so you just find the next chain 1 space and then do 3 more double crochets. So yep, 3 more double crochets, chain 1, pull it through, 3 more in that same space to finish off our 3rd corner. And then again, chain 1 to finish off the cluster. So yeah, we're just going to do our last corner here in this last chain space. Yep, 3 double crochets, chain 1, and now we'll do our last cluster of 3 double crochets. Right, and then finish off with a chain 1. And now you're going to do a slip stitch to fasten off the round, so you can see where we left that stitch marker earlier. So I'm going to put my hook through this stitch here, yarn over and pull through both loops, and then just pull it tight. Get your scissors to finish off the round. I'm gonna weave in these bits, and just like earlier, I'm just gonna weave it in this bit and then cut it so I can still kind of see it, so it's easy to see what the wrong side is. Okay, now we're going to be doing the third round of the granny square. So if we look at this one, for the second round we just did corners, but now we'll be adding a side cluster, so we'll go through that. I'll be using the country green yarn for this. So I'll just make a slip knot like I did before, up and over, twist it round the back behind, hook over. You can just join in any corner, chain 1 space. Just putting the hook in, yarning over and pulling through both, and then again getting both bits of yarn, starting off with that chain 2 and pulling out the loose bit, which can act like a stitch marker. So I'll do 2 double crochets, so that's our first cluster, the chain 2s and the 2 double crochets, and then chain 1, and then 3 more double crochets to complete our first corner. And then chain 1 after the cluster. And now we'll be doing the side cluster, so just 3 double crochets. And again, finishing off the cluster with a chain 1. So then we just go back and we're going to do another corner in this chain 1 space. So that is 3 double crochets. Then chain 1, and then another cluster of 3 double crochets to complete our second corner. And then chain 1, and then we're back to another side. And then again, chain 1 after the 3 double crochets. We're back to another corner, so we'll do 3 double crochets. That's the first cluster of our corner. Do a chain, another 3 double crochets, and then a chain. So now we have 3 corners, 2 sides. We're back here to do another side, so I'll do 3 more double crochets for our side cluster. Now chain in another one after our cluster, and then we'll go into our last corner here. So that's our first cluster of the corner done. Finished it off with a chain, another 3 double crochets, that's 3 double crochets, another chain to finish off our last corner, and then we're doing our last side cluster of 3 double crochets. And then finish off with a chain. So then yeah, we go back to where this stitch marker is, because we want to do a slip stitch in the top of that first chain to finish off the round. So I'll just insert my hook in there and then do a slip stitch. So yarn over, pull through both of the loops and then pull it tight and cut it off. That's our third round of the granny square. That is pretty much how the patterns of the granny square will end up following, but I'll go through the fourth round with you just in case you want to get the full gist of it. I'll weave in these ends here and then we'll put the last round in. I'm gonna do the last round with this colour, so I'll just do a slip knot, and then like before, join it in any corner and make sure that you're working on the wrong side, so where you've been weaving it in, all the bits that are sticking out, that's how you know it's the wrong side easily at this point. And I'm gonna speed this part of the video up. It's pretty much the same thing, be 2 clusters in each corner and then 1 cluster in these bits. I think if it's the first time you've done a granny square, it's just nice to see that get done. So yeah, first corner done, which again is the 2 chains, the 2 double crochets, and then a chain, and then 3 double crochets, and then a chain. So yeah, a cluster of 3 double crochets goes in that bit with a chain, and then another cluster of 3 double crochets. Chain, then we're back to our corner. Now I'm just joining into that last stitch, or slip stitch. So yeah, that's basically it. You should sort of see how the pattern goes now. You can just keep extending the rounds as big as you want to go. You would just keep adding single clusters here and then 2 clusters for each corner. And if you're joining granny squares, I tend to not weave in the last round because you can weave them in as you slip stitch them together, and that just saves time, honestly. But yeah, that's it. That is how you make a granny square. It's super easy once you get in the swing of things, and granny squares are great because they have a lot of versatility. You can make a lot of things with granny squares, so it's a great thing to know how to do.